Hi, everyone. I hope you're all having a lovely Wednesday. I'm going to give another moment or so to let some more people join, and then we will get started this afternoon. Welcome. All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Carmen, and I'm the training coordinator at the Temple Small Business Development Center. The Temple SBDC helps small businesses start and grow. We provide free one-on-one counseling and a variety of low to no cost webinars, and we are proud to be a part of the nationally accredited network of SBDCs with over 1,000 centers across the United States. You have joined us this afternoon for how to start selling an Amazon store. A recording of today's webinar will be sent out to all attendees. And while all attendees have been muted, we encourage you to post any questions in the chat or Q&A. Just a warning, these questions will not be answered throughout the presentation, but rather at the end during the Q&A session. And now I will turn the floor over to Dan.
Awesome. Thank you. So, what's up? Oh, not me to do that. There we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Dan Corcoran. I work on Amazon Small Business Partnerships team. Purpose of our team is to support and scale the success of small business owners and entrepreneurs like yourself. And today we'll be discussing and looking at how to start selling an Amazon store. And whether you're in the beginning stages of your business, ideation, or all the way to launching, the real goal here is to just provide some valuable insight to you and some tidbits of information that are actionable and that you could use to your advantage and utilize. So let's look at today's agenda. We'll first cover the reasons why. Got this. I will exit because it doesn't apply. So we'll first take a look at the reasons why you should sell Amazon store. Kind of goes quick overview of some of the intriguing statistics and reasons, and then we'll go through pretty much the entire process. I know that it could be a bit much. We have a good amount of slides in here. It's rather informative, but I'll try to keep it straightforward as possible. And if you have any questions towards the end, just voice them there. I'll be more than happy to answer them. So let's get started. So why you should sell an Amazon store? Well, I think as most people know, Amazon is a retail destination that is home to sellers of all kinds, of all backgrounds, who are there for one major reason, and that is to reach millions of customers. People from cities, urban areas, different countries, globally. This is where people go to shop. So it's quite incentivizing to have your product there as well. One of the main things we hold to be true at Amazon is basically customers are always going to value wide selection, low prices, as well as fast, convenient delivery. And a huge portion of this is the access to new customers. And these customers, a large portion of them live in the United States domestically, but they're also globally as well. Worldwide accounts are common and people utilize them, and reaching those worldwide accounts, if you have aspirations to with your business with a partner like Amazon, is not terribly difficult. So one of our programs, Global Selling, allows you to expand globally through Amazon's brand. We provide insight through this program into, say, the tax code information of certain marketplaces that you wish to enter, as well as, say, logistical support that you may need or most likely will need. And then with that logistical support in that same vein, you can leverage Amazon's fulfillment centers across the country, or across the world, I should say. And we also recommend through Global Selling, to utilize our freight forwarder service through our service provider network. So to get something pretty much across here is Global Selling allows you to expand internationally with our different, say, services such as service provider network. And the service provider network provides you options to get your product to the different marketplaces of your choosing, because it could be quite, say, strenuous and difficult as you as a business owner to worry about getting your product here in the United States all the way to, say, Japan or Germany or the UK. And once your product is there, Global Selling allows you to leverage Amazon's network of fulfillment centers, so it could easily reach your product, could easily reach the customer. And some places and marketplaces that we have a presence in. First one, major is Europe, countries there, and over 28 countries that you could reach, even though there's not exact fulfillment centers in each one of them. But also some of the larger ones to point out are Germany and the UK. Looking the other way, Asia, Japan, the world's third largest economy, has plenty of opportunity. This may sound rather grandiose and rather, distant in the future and a daunting task, but just knowing that you have the support to sell in Canada and Mexico, to expand to places that you always want to expand to, or expand to places that are just geographically more, say, visuals that you could visualize, does help you know that there's not limitations to selling in our store, and quite the opposite. So we all know that e-commerce is a growth driver for selling online and just developing your business overall. But most people don't know that 60% of sales in our store come from these independent sellers, most of which are from small, medium-sized businesses. And these same small, medium-sized businesses create over 1.5 million jobs in 2022, just based in the United States alone. And brand owners, that means people who own their own product and do not resell a product, they grew year over year by 20%. So their sales, that is. So some key things to keep in mind to provide insight into our selling partners and who they are. So what does it really mean? Well, besides the statistics on the screen, it really represents growth. It represents opportunity, it represents potential that some people, understandably so, may find daunting when trying to take on any kind of feat or achievement, whether it be in sports, a personal pursuit, or in this case, selling an Amazon store. It may be interpreted as you can't do it because of X and Y, but our independent sellers, as seen here, average more than $230,000 in our store. So I think it really represents potential and really represents growth as well. Forward. So what to sell and when? Right here, we capture some insights on what products you should sell and when you should sell them. So generally speaking, for people who are just starting out, it's easier for them to start selling products that are easy to package and ship. So they don't come at too heavy of a cost to get them to the customer or the warehouse that will do your fulfillment. Products that have branding potential. That mainly means, or pretty much means, that you are the owner of that product and you're not reselling a product. Then lastly, or not lastly, but thirdly, products that are affordable to the customer. So regarding e-commerce, generally speaking, the margins or the price points you want to be in between are $20 and $75. Obviously, it depends on what the product is, the category, the quality, but you don't really want to go too far below, say, $20 or $15, say, because you might cut into your margins, and then you don't want to go over, say, $75 because that might be looked at as unreasonable depending on what the product is. Obviously, there's caveats to this. And then lastly is the shelf life. You don't want to sell a product that will be, sour in a week or two with it being in a warehouse. And if you do, if that is your product, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not always the best for e-commerce and would do better in a brick and mortar type environment, generally speaking. So what to sell in the Amazon store, or when to sell, excuse me. So you want to have a product, and that may sound extremely obvious, but you also want a product that's being ready to shipped and delivered to a customer. And speaking of a customer, you want to have a targeted customer demographic in mind when creating that product. That comes to almost anything, whether it's a podcast or someone you're just creating an essay for, a novel. You want to know who would be purchasing this product and why. And gearing it towards them can amount to some success as well, because you're going through their mind, their process, and why they would be buying the product and why it's appealing to them. Then secondary, but just as critical, is your supply chain. You want to have a sustainable, reliable supply chain in place so you can meet any increase in demand for your product. This could happen through seasonal events or promotions, whether it's just like Christmas or Prime Day. You want to be prepared well in advance for those increase in demands for your product. So how to get started. We'll look at what you need information wise and go from there. So quick thing to know is Amazon currently offers two selling plans. Going back to that, two selling plans, individual and professional. They're reversible at any time. So once you commit to one, doesn't mean you can't switch to the other. But in essence, as you can see on the screen, individual is more for people who are dipping their toe into e-commerce in the Amazon store, wondering whether this is for them or not. It's 99 cents on every unit you sell, and you're limited in the amount of programs that you can access. Professional is $40 per month, no matter how many units you sell. And there's also full access to all the programs that we have to offer. So good to keep in mind, but as mentioned, you can go back and switch at any point in time. So when you do say have that figured out, you go to sell.amazon.com or business.amazon.com. So with sell.amazon.com, it's B2C, business.amazon.com is B2B. It's good to note that business.amazon.com allows you to sell directly to consumer too, but based on your business model, you'll obviously want to sign up for one or the other. So what you'll need information wise, you need banking information, credit card, state issued ID, phone number, as well as tax information. All that should be pretty standard and you have on hand, but it's good to have that at the ready when signing up and planning to execute and create your account. And once you do create your account, you have access to Seller Central. Seller Central you can think of as a one-stop shop to navigate your Amazon business. You can do things such as download custom business reports, contact seller partner services, which is basically our customer assistance for sellers, and keep track of daily sales, inventory, learn about best practices in the store through Seller University, and also feature or gain access to all the programs, some of which I'll touch on in just a moment. So how to list products. What you need for a listing. Most products have a global trade item number, otherwise known as a product ID. This is consistent across all retailers that you'll need one for, and it's the same one. And with that product ID, such as a universal product code, you'll want to purchase one through GS1. It's just a platform that we validate and pretty much mostly all other retailers, both e-commerce wise and brick and mortar, use to validate your product ID, which is GS1. That's the place you go to, purchase one for each product you have. And then some of the other information you need is a stock keeping unit, product title, imagery, imagery, as I said, description, bullet points, a whole 9 yards. And once you have that all figured out, you'll want to go to Seller Central, add a product tab through Seller Central, and go to I'm adding a product not sold in Amazon store or not sold on Amazon. But that's only if you're a brand owner, meaning that you own the product and it's not reselling a product from someone else or another company or wholesaling it, I should say. So creating your product listing. This is pretty crucial to your success in the store, but in essence, I think everyone really knows what this kind of takes through if you have any experience shopping in Amazon store or just e-commerce altogether. You have a clear title, meaning that when people are going through their search queries, they're not wondering what your product is if they come across it. You will have high quality imagery. You looking at, pixels or a pixelized image isn't too aesthetically pleasing and most likely won't give a customer confidence that this is going to turn out well for them. And then accurate product descriptions. So no one's left wondering what this product really is after, say, reading the descriptions and reading the bullet points that you may provide. So these are some best practices. I'm not going to read out all of them. You can take a picture of this. I know this is being recorded as well. But in essence, it's best to keep your product title descriptive, concise, and relevant. That includes not using all caps, for example, and as mentioned, not being vague and being specific and not having too lengthy and verbose of a product title. So I'll stay on this for a moment so people can take a picture, but So brand stores. Different e-commerce channels will give you the opportunity to showcase your catalog, who you are as a, say, small business owner, entrepreneur, and through Amazon, we do this through brands which are exclusive to the store. Brand stores allow you to showcase all your products or your entire catalog, who you are as a small business owner, entrepreneur, and what your brand represents all in one destination. It's basically a virtual storefront, allowing you to, attract returning customers, pull in new ones, and it's just purely kind of like a statistical tool. So through Simply Gum, they have successfully created a cohesive, clear image, what their product is, who their brand represents, or what their brand represents, and who they are as a brand owner. To access this program, you have to go through brand registry. Brand registry, as mentioned, being a brand owner, this is how you do it. And brand owner is basically meaning that you just own the product. You are the product owner. You're not reselling a product. It's yours. And to do this, you need a trademark. But we're also very understanding that not everyone has a trademark when starting out. So that's why we create the Amazon IP Accelerator. The Amazon IP Accelerator connects you, small business owners, entrepreneurs, with trusted US law firms across the country. And with this as well, you don't need to obtain the trademark, just the pending trademark to sign up through brand registry. So if you go through Amazon's IP Accelerator, you obtain the pending trademark, you can sign up to brand registry. And brand registry has a number of benefits and programs that protect your product in our store. But in essence, it allows you to take advantage of our other programs such as A+ content, but it also protects your product from being, say, sold or resold by someone else and being undercut when you do a sale. And that helps you, keep your margins up, keep your product safe, and keep the integrity of your product there as well. Now, how to deliver products. Because you can go through all the steps, sign for brand registry, sign up in the store, create an awesome product listing. But once that product is ordered, how does it get delivered to the customer? And through Amazon, we currently offer two options: fulfillment by Amazon, FBA, and fulfillment by merchant, FBM. With FBA, you ship your product to one or up to 3 of our fulfillment centers, and from there, we take care of the storage, packing, delivery, and all customer service requests. And with FBM, fulfillment by merchant, that is on you, the business owner, to strategize. So some fulfillment considerations, regardless if you use FBA or FBM. Just fulfillment in general, if you have a product that requires to be refrigerated, that's going to come at some limitations. Just right off the bat, should be aware of that. If your product needs to be refrigerated to a certain degree, then just knowing that there's limitations, that is good. Secondary is, does your product have a short shelf life? If that's the case, then have to be marked clearly and be first in and first out for freshness. Then fragile, heavy products may take up a larger space in a warehouse or fulfillment center, and with that it could come at a higher cost to you as a business owner. Lastly is location. Location is key because if you can't successfully ship your product to the fulfillment center, then it doesn't really, or warehouse, then it doesn't really matter because you need your product to get there for orders to be fulfilled. So this is like the sales pitch, I guess, here for FBA, but we have seen fulfillment by Amazon sellers who've utilized this program a 20 to 25% increase in their sales. This is for a variety of reasons, but a major one being is people don't value but expect 2-day prime shipping and delivery, or just 2-day shipping and delivery regardless if it's through Amazon or not now. So being aware of that is key. And then there's also the customer service request aspect, because whether you're the seller, like this business owner, or the customer, returns happen. Neither party is obviously satisfied, but leaving a positive last impression with that customer is critical. But doing that when you're operating under different working hours or located in different time zones can be quite difficult. So with FBA, we take care of those customer service requests for you and allow you to focus more time on your business. We have also seen in the year 2022 that compared to other, say, standard shipping options, FBA runs 30% less per unit than those other major shipping carriers, and 70% less than premium options through those carriers as well. So a couple key statistics to keep in mind too. Then there's Buy with Prime. Buy with Prime is an extension of FBA that allows you to have the Prime checkout in your merchant store. So if you have your own site where you sell your own product, this Buy with Prime allows you to input the Amazon checkout experience and delivery experience into your website, kind of guaranteeing that people know and can expect what the product will arrive, when it will arrive, and if there's any customer service return issues, they'll be taken care of. And personally, as a quick anecdote, I'm hesitant to buy clothes online. Did recently from a different company, a third party, and when getting them, none of them really fit, none of them really like looked well. So went to return it, found out that if it wasn't past a certain price point, wasn't eligible for a return. And that's obviously not like the best, it's not the best experience, and it doesn't really incentivize me to return to that place either. But when you have just Buy Prime or just any kind of guarantee that this will be a seamless shipping, delivery, and if so, unfortunately, customer return request experience, they'll be taken care of. Now, looking at eligibility into this program, must be a US-based entity, which is probably expected, must for this program. Then you must have your own website and sell and market your product there. Professional seller's account or Amazon supply chain account is necessary. And then you also have to enroll in Amazon Pay, meaning you just have your Pay bank account hooked up, or a bank account hooked up with Amazon so you can receive the funds as well. So all things good to keep in mind, but you can learn more about this program at buyerprime.amazon.com. So now we'll look at some opportunities for growth and how they could benefit you when you say hope and plan to start selling in the store. And as mentioned, selling in the store, doing anything that requires a good amount of effort and upkeep can be quite daunting. And when you don't get the desired results, even after hard work, whether it's like through a test or a sports game, any kind of personal pursuit, or in this case, business one, it can be quite discouraging, which is why we created this growth recommendations page that you will find through Seller Central. That after 90 days of selling in the store, so after creating your product listing and having your products be available for sale, you get recommended actions that can enhance sales, whether that be growing your product detail page or enrolling in Fulfilled by Amazon, a number of other things that gives you the insight to take actionable measures to increase sales, to increase and cultivate a more appealing product or product detail page site. The tool is also free of charge, it's complimentary, and it comes at no cost to the business owner. So investing in discoverability. I think we all know the pair of the critical and key aspect that high quality images play. But there's also customer reviews, and we have seen that customer reviews, quality ones, can lead up to a 3.5 times increase in sales. So that's good to know, and that really doesn't speak to like the customer review itself, but rather what they represent, which is a trusted person, or what someone interprets as this trusted person who bought your product, has it, and is providing their feedback. So whether it's a new product or a new, say, company, business that someone's ready to purchase from, a lot of people like to check out those customer reviews, see what previous customers have to say, and that can do a lot for your business. Then there's seasonal events and promotions. This past Thanksgiving, the period between Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday, we have seen shoppers take or spend more than $1 billion with small businesses. And that just speaks to how that could happen rather quick. And it may not be as obvious as the holiday season. It could be, depending on your product, just seasonally. If you're selling bathing suits and summer's coming up, then be intuitively that you're gonna have a higher demand. But knowing that and planning for that out well in advance is also key. So not just 2 weeks before Christmas comes, but rather months in advance to get your product in the warehouse or fulfillment center of your choosing, and also having the stock ready for it. Then there's strategic measurable marketing, which I'll go into in just a moment and touch on the different ways you can do that through Amazon. So Amazon Vine, this speaks to the product reviews. This speaks to building a trusted experience for a potential customer. And with Amazon Vine, how it works is you enroll your you enroll your product in brand registry within 6 months of selling on our store. And then within 3 months, you enroll in Amazon Vine. And Amazon Vine allows you to obtain trusted, high quality reviews from Vine Voices, which are our most, say, prized reviewers in Amazon store that provide insightful, detailed reviews. And that really kind of helps kickstart cold and slow ASINs, product listings, in other words, to provide visibility into what your product is and why people should buy it and why they'd be interested in it. So sponsored products, going back to that strategic measurable marketing. Sponsored products are pretty much when you're viewing an ad on a website, that's how it could pretty much look in the store. So they are individual ads when someone's searching through different search queries that pop up, highlight your product. And how it works on the seller's end, the business owner's end, is it's cost per click, and you'll put in whatever product you want to sponsor and the relevant keywords, bullet words, bullet terms, and bullet points that you want to be associated with that product ad. And then on relevant search queries, it will pop up there. Sponsor brands is more, I guess, holistic way of it. Sponsor brands allows you to put your company's logo, up to 3 products, and a custom headline, and it still pops up on those search queries, but it just has more of options to you, or allows you more options to highlight them, and more products be highlighted. Sponsored display is a little different now. Sponsored display allows you, business owner, to reach audiences off and on Amazon. That means, someone's on Twitch for some reason perusing, and they can see an ad that is from Amazon store. And the key, I guess, difference here too as well is it doesn't target keywords or bullet points, but rather shopping behaviors and interest. So if they were on a product listing, say similar to yours or yours actually, they shop in Amazon store or somewhere else, it will still pop up or could pop up elsewhere as well. So just some key things to keep in mind. And all these product strategic measurable marketing solutions are available through Seller Central. So that's where you would go to utilize these different solutions. And how Amazon directly helps small businesses build their brand. Well, most people want to shop from small businesses, and most people like e-commerce and like to shop online. So that kind of there lies the problem in essence. And how we solve that problem is by assigning small business badges to small business owners. And this allows people to not only identify and shop from small businesses and Black-owned businesses, but also support them as well. And there's also the Amazon.com/support small storefront, where people can shop quality products from small businesses directly, all of which just helps, as mentioned, customers identify, support, and shop from these types of businesses. Now I'd like to share some additional resources. One being Amazon Handmade. Amazon Handmade is a place exclusively for artisans, and from there, oh, excuse me, something's popping up. Pardon for that. And with Amazon Handmade, excuse that, this allows artisans, so people who have their own product, handcrafted, handmade, to shop from there or to enroll into this program. And it's great for artisans from across the world, sell to all the customers. And the eligibility to this program is basically you have to have a handcrafted, handmade product. Also need to have submit an application and have a professional seller's account. And handcrafted or hand altered is also a way to enroll into this program. And hand altered is basically that you have a jean jacket, say, and you bedazzle it or paint it, that would classify as hand altered. Some benefits of the program are: one, we waive, if accepted, we waive the professional seller's fee. That's number one, which is about, I think, a $500 annual savings. Two, we have that dedicated storefront, which allows you as an artisan to showcase your entire catalog of products to customers. And then three, it comes out a lower referral fee than other products in our store. Then there's the Small Business Academy. So depending on where you are in your business journey, this program is a one-stop digital resource for education. So you can access live webinars. You can also access office hours there and speak to one of our nonprofit organizations experts in e-commerce and get your questions answered. And then there's also just videos on demand webinars that allow you to just watch them at your own pace as well. So good things to keep in mind when looking for an educational resource. And a lot of the topics are also Amazon agnostic, meaning that they don't pertain exactly to selling an Amazon store, but rather e-commerce or starting a business in general, discussing branding, fulfillment, funding, all things that you would need to know regardless of selling in our store or not. Then there's Founders Table. Founders Table is a quarterly live webinar or event series which features an industry expert as well as different small business owner and their journey to success, what it took. It's a great way to network with other small business owners because throughout the session or throughout the webinar, it allows you to be put in these little chat rooms, like up to 6 people, where you can talk and connect with other small business owners across the country. The next one, there's one launched in San Francisco back in February that you can watch a recording to, but the next one is launched in July 20th, and that is featured in Detroit. You can sign up, you can join that if you would like, and you can do all that through Small Business on Amazon. Now the podcast, everyone has a podcast. We have a podcast. Only our podcast is actually rated quite high and was in April of 2023 rated the #1 podcast in entrepreneurship. And this is small business, features each episode a different small business owner, different entrepreneur, pulls back the curtain on their pretty much their mission to start a business, what they've encountered, the barriers and hurdles that they had to overcome, and everything in between. It's available on all major platforms, and you can find that also at the smallbusiness.amazon. Then there's Seller University. Seller University is fantastic for learning the best practices of selling in our store. So once you become a seller in our store, you can go there and pretty much feature a number of different topics. One being, say, fulfillment, FBA specifically, but also product listing, creating the best product listing, learn about A+ content, product reviews. All these are extremely advantageous to a seller. So just some key things that you can keep in mind when you create your account, but there's also a free version on YouTube that you can watch at your convenience. Then there's the Black Business Accelerator. The Black Business Accelerator was started in, I want to say, June of 2021, and it's a $150 million commitment to help build Black-owned businesses. This looks like financial assistance, also looks like mentorship and strategic guidance through one-on-ones, as well as promotional credits in our store that allow you to advertise your product. So all key things to keep in mind if it is applicable to you. You can also learn more about this at sellamazon.com/BBA. And there's our service provider network. Our service provider network is our third-party vetted sellers or service providers that provide help with tax information, provides help with, say, logistical support, as well as a number of other areas. And they're across the market and across the world if you, as mentioned earlier, wish to expand globally. So keeping that in mind. Next is Amazon Lending. Amazon Lending is great for businesses looking for, business lending, financing without the lengthy paperwork and long wait times. A key thing to keep in mind here is that you have to be selling in a store within good standing for at least a year. So it may take some time to be eligible for the program, but you can find out if you are eventually through the growth tab in Seller Central. Then just to highlight our different partners, partner with different nonprofits across the board, across the country that specialize in supporting different demographics and different services through, say, education, peer networking opportunities, as well as grants in some cases. So highlighting that, and then just thank you for your time. Thank you for being here today and the opportunity to, I guess, hear from me. And I look forward to answering all of the questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Dan. So I'm going to launch a few poll questions right now. They should pop up on everyone's screen. If you could just take a moment to answer those. And Dan, the chat
Mhm.
has a lot in it. So did you want me to read off or did you want to just scroll through?
Yeah, so I see the chat and I see Q&A. So I'd rather like doing people's orders, so I don't like cut anyone off if you were tracking that, like the order they were sent in. But
I think we just got to take it one by one. The the
sounds
Q&A
good.
has less. So if you want to start there.
Okay, you just pop that up on the screen. So I'm looking at one submitted by PN is the person's username.
Yes.
Question is, if I'm making the product at home, what should I do? So I guess that would be if you're looking into Handmade, that is something that's entirely up to you. Making the product at home, how that process looks is, what you visualize to do it. There's not exactly any guidance on creating your product at home. It's not an issue, but it's really yours to navigate and find out what the best practices is to do that. But there's no like limitation to that, if that was kind of alluding to. Then I see another question from typically what percentage of a product's unit price does FBA charge? So it really depends on the product, and I believe this is referring to the referral fee. Some product categories are say on the lower end, around 7%, some on the higher end, around 20%. It really depends on the product category, but median, I want to say, is around 12%. And that's good to know, and you can find out more about that on sell.amazon. And with that insight, you can adjust your margins if need be. And you could also look at FBA, because I see this is a FBA question now. With FBA, you can go to the FBA revenue calculator, and through there, you can see how much estimate how much it will cost you to utilize that service. So I'll just type the answer in for you too. It's called the FBA revenue calculator. And that's for anyone as well who's wondering how much FBA would cost them as a business owner. I see. Can you help with the license that I should get for the product, like art, ceramics, made at home, or we are in PA? So I'm not exactly sure what license that's referring to, and I don't can't provide too much more insight into that, but I'm gonna keep moving forward. So do we get a transcript to review afterwards? The recording, yeah, you got that one.
Sorry. So the
No, go
recording
for
will
it.
be shared with everyone. I know that audio is included with that. On my side, it is saying that we have to configure some things in Zoom. So if you want to email spdc@temple.edu after this presentation, we'd love to assist with that.
Cool. So now I see, does it mean you can sell through other Amazon competitors? I would need a little more elaboration on what that is alluding to. If it's buy with Prime, it depends on their service and what they allow to implement buy with Prime. But buy with Prime is really meant to kind of integrate the Amazon checkout experience to your to your website. And yeah, that's buy with Prime's like kind of main thought process before, was allowing you to have that Amazon checkout experience for your customers just on your own, say, merchant website. So can you talk about Amazon's print on demand services for creators? So Amazon print on demand, or Amazon, yeah, on demand, I guess this is referring to that service, and what that entails, but we have an entire different presentation that kind of discusses it, but I'll go over a quick overview of it, which if you want to create graphic tees through it, there's no for any accessory actually available through the demands are on demand services. There's no investment needed. It's completely print on demand, so the product isn't made until it's ordered. Therefore, that's a huge pro of it. And how it also works is you receive a royalty based on the price point, which is based on the price point that you sell it for. So if you sell a graphic tee for $24, you can expect a royalty on that for $8.25. And that's really coming back to that this comes at no cost to you as a business owner to sign for that program and to sell your products there. And then how do we go about being a reseller? Is there a webinar on that? Yeah, so if you go to Seller University through YouTube, you can go through there and type in reselling. There should be information on that quite extensively. But regarding a good portion of what I said today, the process would still be the same. There obviously be some alterations to it, but you can go to Amazon Seller University through YouTube and learn more about it there. But I'll also switch now to the chat because I saw questions there and I don't want to ignore them. So I see, can we get a copy of the presentation? The recording, I think was mentioned that will be available, but there may be issues at the moment. If you want to pop back in and provide how people could get a copy of the presentation or a copy of the
It's
recording.
just, so it's just with the transcripts that we may have a slight issue with. I know for a fact that a link to this entire presentation will be sent out to everyone. It's just the transcript that I'm a little iffy about, but audio will be included.
Cool. So where can I find out more about Amazon product photography and pricing? So photography and pricing, I would say Seller University or signing up for Amazon the account and going to Seller University and going through there, but I'm not really sure about what that means, product photography and pricing. If you're looking for like your own products, like images and how to do that, Seller University, definitely. The pricing part, you would have to kind of go through the product category and see how that would pan out. But product photography could go through Seller University, see how you can obtain A+ content and what that would take to do. But also that is a little different than just your high quality images for your product listing. Through there are some best practices as well through Seller University. So that's kind of like the spot you want to go to. What if your products are books through a publisher? I would consult the publisher then and talk to them about how they can get an Amazon store if they're the ones to do that, but it's not a limitation. Or a notebook. Yes, you could sell that in Amazon store. I'm not really sure what that's alluding to. Listing should not use for copyright, but can show either trademark. I'm also not sure where that is going at. In hands. Does Amazon have a service that will ship my products directly to my customer? So yes, you can use Amazon FBA. That's a service that will ship your products directly to your customers. It's fulfilled by Amazon. And if so, you can include your branding on there. It will just have to be noted. You have to like fill that out if there's specific products, and you'll also have to provide the branding or packaging itself. Are there fulfillment fees? Yes, you can find out how much FBA would cost you as a business owner at Fulfillment by Amazon, or FBA revenue calculator, excuse me. Is there a minimum quantity of items I can send to Fulfillment Center? No, the minimum is one. I wouldn't suggest one, but I also wouldn't suggest sending 1,000 or hundreds. You can start off slow and then increase if demand is there. That's what I would say. So you can do drop shipping. We have a whole entire site on that. When you type in drop shipping, Amazon could pop up. But in essence, the biggest barrier that people see with drop shipping is that they're not the seller on record or of record, meaning that they try to wholesale like stuff from, I don't know, say Costco. That doesn't really make sense, but a clothing department store, and then they send it directly to the customer. Well, they have to be the seller on record, and wholesalers like that won't put you as the seller on record. So that's like the key thing to keep in mind for drop shipping is you have to be the seller on record, meaning that your information has to be attached to the label of that package. So just some key things to keep in mind regarding that. Recording will be shared. So I've signed up to sell and tried to do like retail arbitrage, but I kept saying I didn't have permission to sell, for example, a book. How do I deal with this? So for that, I would contact seller partner support through Seller Central. And with them, there should be a call option at the bottom of when you're filling it out. Make sure to call if it's possible. Don't send an email. If it is an email, that's the only way. Just continually follow up with them. And that's what I would suggest. But yeah, call if you can, which most people can. So was inventory needed for FBA? So as mentioned, there's no required inventory. What's really just kind of required is that you send one item basically, but would suggest sending more. I wouldn't send 12 months. No, I would definitely not send 12 months starting out. I would send, say, just a number you feel comfortable with, but if to give insight, if inventory stays, say, stagnant in a fulfillment center for too long, you get hit with surcharge fees. So you can always start smaller and increase from there. It's good to keep in mind that this kind of changes around the holiday season when they get inventory checked in, and you want to plan more advance out for that. But when it's not the holiday season, you'll want to keep a steady flow of inventory. But when starting out, I wouldn't put too much. I would lean on the side of caution, put a little less or a reasonable amount. And then if you have to increase, you can increase. So with FBA, we take care of the returns. As mentioned, someone wants to return a product. We take care of that. They drop it off at one of the many locations that we have to do so through. And then most categories don't come with a processing fee to you. Unless it's apparel or shoes, then it will come with a processing fee, but most don't. And from there, when we receive the product back, we evaluate whether it can be restocked or if it cannot. And in that case, you can get it or we could ship it back to you. With fulfillment by Amazon or fulfillment by merchant, excuse me, so that being the business owner, you would have to you would have to get back to that customer within 24 hours. We contact you letting you know what's happened, like that there's a return. And then from there, you have to contact the customer and deal with it through them. But we do let you know that there is a return requested. Do I need an LLC to be a seller? You do not. So I want to sell something on Amazon, but I have no idea. Is there a counselor program to help explore my options? So that's why I recommend small business on Amazon that has different webinars to just starting out in e-commerce and entering that realm. There's also office hours where you can voice questions there. And as mentioned, it's just small business on Amazon, which is the link. Can I register my business? I own a hair company. I make wigs. Can I register my business on Amazon? You can sell your wigs on Amazon. I don't see that being an issue, but you won't be, yeah, you can do that. You have to be a product. It won't be a service. Can open more than one store brand under the same business. You can have more than one products under the same store. or under the same business owner account. So yes, I hope that answers that. How do I access the wholesalers to find products to sell? So that just takes market research. We don't really deal with the reselling part of the component, at least my team does not. So that would just have to take research on your end to see who to do that through. But yeah. I had enrolled to sell on Amazon, but I was never able to get my item to be viewed, to be purchased. I don't understand that one, to be honest. So yes, I tried selling on Amazon, but I found the process confusing. Is there someone that can help me step by step? Was not someone to specifically, as mentioned, you could check out smallbusiness.amazon.com, but there's also a beginner's guide. I want to see if I stop sharing this, I can pull this up and find this for you. So, and I'll put in the chat for the person asking about a step by step. There we go.
Also,
Also
Zan, if
put,
you don't mind me just
mhm.
popping in
Yeah, of
real
course.
quickly. I just sent 2 links into the chat. The first is a survey about today's webinar. Not only do we really value your feedback, but it is required by our funders. So if everyone could just take a moment to fill that out, it is super brief. And then the second link is to our Temple SBDC resource page. Every single funding opportunity grant that we know about is listed in that document, as long as registration for upcoming webinars and other resources. And with that, I'll turn it back to Dan.
Sounds good. So what is the webinar on print on demand called? Is it coming up soon? You could check out smallbusiness.amazon to see what webinars are coming up. And the one that it would be included is called Build a Business. So there's that. And also, if you go to the SCORE Greater Chesapeake and Potomac site, we did what did we do? We did a webinar with them that I believed that was covered called Build a Business. And if you look at their past recordings, you could probably find it there. Have a seller account, already and sold some products as well. One problem is getting a schedule. I'm not entirely sure I answered this one question. So, how do you ship to seller via Amazon? How do you ship to seller via Amazon? I'm not I'm not entirely sure what that means. To the seller, to the customer, you would do fulfillment by Amazon, but I feel like that's not the question that was being asked. But yeah, I'm gonna check out the Q&A because I see some in here. Answered Justin's. The markup on Amazon, I'm assuming that could be referring to the referral fee. As mentioned earlier, that depends on the product category. So there's that. And as also mentioned, it can range from anywhere from say 7 to 20%. Median is 12 to 15. Then there is there a training center? The training center would be either Seller University, which you can access through YouTube, the free version, or you could, after creating an account, you can access the full version there. The only difference is how regularly it's updated. But then secondary is small business on Amazon. I would consider that a training center, as a ton of different webinars and useful resources. Cool. And can you give me a real quick one down? Wait. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one question. So I see in the chat my account was suspended because of a drop-off policy violation. I was late for 1 day. 2, how can I fix it? So drop-off policy. I would contact seller partner services or support, excuse me. That's probably the best people who could answer a account specific question. As just mentioned previously, or maybe it should have been mentioned, if not, that we don't deal with account specific questions. We don't have the agency over that. So that's something I would keep in mind. They told me they can do anything about it. Huh. And look at this again. Did not sub 3 shipping. Well, if they told you can only, I'm quite unsure whether you'd say you can only do FBA, but I would see if you can contact someone else there, or that seems like the best option I could honestly give at the moment based off the current details. So this is a great question. Is being branded mean I need my LLC? No. It means you need a trademark or a pending trademark through Amazon's IP Accelerator, and that represents you being the owner of the product you're selling and not reselling one. So that is basically when you go to register through brand registry, you need to be the product owner and have that trademark on hand. But if you don't have that, we create the Amazon IP Accelerator, which connects small business owners, say such as yourself, with different law firms that provide trademark, say, services through the United States Trademark Office. And then once you just have that pending trademark through the Amazon IP Accelerator, then you can utilize Amazon's brand registry service. So that is, wait, is there any other Q&A? Is that free? If that's referring to the Amazon IP Accelerator, like the service, like being able to use the IP Accelerator doesn't come at cost, but there's also a price to you that will come from you or for you with the law firm that you do it through. But to my knowledge, are pre-negotiated, so it shouldn't be much of a haggle, but that is obviously it comes at cost to get that trademark, but it really depends on who you do it through, and also depends on what kind of product you're selling, where you want to sell it globally at the moment, domestically. So it really varies. Okay. And then to answer Tyree Scott's last question, is that a fee to go through the branded process? No. So once you have your trademark or pending trademark, there's not a fee to go through the Amazon brand registry process. What's the general timeline for the IP Accelerator? And John, I see your one question, so let me do John's real fast. John, regarding the routine, my team and we don't sell an Amazon store. We just work on the e-commerce side of things and work with different small business owners and sellers. So I can't give you the best advice there. Honestly, the best advice you would get there is by, going to different networking events and conferences local to you that are free to you, and speaking with business owners who have done the process regarding e-commerce or just starting a business of any sort, and talking to them. So I won't try to act as if I know exactly what the best routine or apps would be for you to utilize. Then the general timeline for IP Accelerator, it depends who you're working with and what the service really is, what you're going for. So that is, I think, all the questions I see. I appreciate everyone's questions, and yeah, I was able to answer them mainly to the best of my ability, but thank you again.
Great. Thank you so much, Dan. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. Have a good one.
Awesome. See you guys.
Bye-bye.